And tonight on our Great American panel, he is the founder and the president of the group BOND, the Brotherhood Organization for a New Destiny, which I am a board member. Reverend Jessie Lee Peterson is here. She serves as the chairwoman on the board of the Independent Women's Forum. Heather Higgins is back. She is a former advisor to soon-to-be former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, former communications director for Governor Ed Rendell. Penny Lee is, I introduce you that way all the time.
You know, and one day, come November, you're going to be eating those words.
I could see his son Rory is so confident in his election. Rory Reid is running for governor in the state of Nevada.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. Rory Reid comes out with an ad. Doesn't even mention his last name. His website, you can't find his last name.
Everybody knows who he is. He has been a county executive for many years at the largest county. Everybody knows
county executives do you know who only need one name?
Yeah.
When someone is prominent and has done so much and done so much as he has,
even Newt in his campaign literature used his last name as well as his first name.
But it's not uncommon at all.
Well, you said something funny prior to coming on.
I just think that it would be a great ad if somebody were so inclined to make an ad of the great one names that we have known. So you have Madonna, you have Cher, maybe you have Newt, and then you have Rory with a question mark.
I don't lose any doubt.
Well, he's losing. He's down by 7 or 8 in the last poll against Sharon Engel, who I think is going to be a terrific candidate. All right, Robert Redford to Obama. Don't let the oil spill go to waste. Use it to push a green agenda.
I sympathize with Obama because he's got a lot to handle all of a sudden. And he's dealing with a company that could not deliver what it promised, safety. I'm sympathetic, but I think that he has right now, there's a moment in our history where he can grab leadership, take what's happened, grab this moment in history, and get a decent energy policy.
I want to plug the damn hole. I want to kick somebody's beep. I can't suck it up with a straw. I can't dive down there and plug the hole myself. He's acted like a petulant child. I've said that before. What do you?
Petulant child.
Yes, I can't suck it up with a straw. I'm going to kick your ass.
There is some reality here. He can go in there. I mean, what do you want? Put him on a wetsuit and go in there and die?
No, I'll tell you.
The problem is the entire approach is misbegotten from the beginning. I mean, Robert Redford's statement is fallacious. It's not that we can assume that this sort of thing is inevitable. In fact, there has not been a major accident for 31 years. BP had the worst record on a number of fronts. I mean, if you look at oil refineries, they had 97% of the willful violations, etc. So the problem is BP following really shoddy safety practices. But that is not an excuse to then exploit this worst environmental disaster ever and try and use that as an excuse to recreate our energy policy and radically jack up energy prices for everybody.
Hang on a second. It's bigger than that. And I want to throw you make a good point about the political side of this, Heather, but here's what I think is also missing. Where's the leadership? Where's the barriers? Where's the burn? Where's the booms? Where's the skimmers? Where's the leadership? Where's the urgency needed to save our fishing and tourism industry and our beautiful beaches?
I think that we have to look at the big picture. Obama is the kind of guy that loved crisis like this. If you remember when this thing first happened,
he loves it because he can go play golf and listen to Paul McCartney. He
was taking Michelle out on a date. He was dancing on stage with Paul. And what they do is they want these things to happen so that they can pass their bills, cap and tax. And they really don't care about the people and what's going on. And the more power that they can get, they are that power. That's what's going on with this situation.
He is not one that is asking for these disasters. He is not asking. No, he is not. Absolutely.
But you cannot sit here 8 weeks into this disaster and say that he has been competent and has shown any type of leadership ability except to, bang on the table, summon people to the White House, kick some butt, and all this stuff.
As you know, I mean, absolutely, there is more work that needs done. There are failures that were both on the government side and also on BP.
If anybody needs something kicked, it's him.
And I would say that there has been failures. There has been failures to put in the proper places to relieve the Jones Act and to other things to bring in.
Why doesn't he kick it in gear? I want him to kick it in gear.
And it is. I mean, there is more being done there than is actually being reported.
But I'm curious as to your thesis because I understand the people who are saying there would be action on the part of the administration to suspend some of these rules, suspend the Jones Act, take action on the berms and everything else, and not try to suspend all drilling, for example, which is only more economically harmful to the region. What is your rationale? How do you explain the fact that they haven't done this?
But they have done more.
So much.
But there's so much.
She's right.
But there is a vastness of a problem that we have never seen in our lives. BP didn't have BP didn't have the resources that they said they were going to. I am saying that there is an ownership on both sides.
I want urgency. I want a sense of urgency, a seriousness of a real problem. I know it takes away from his concerts and his golfing and his basketball.
That is no. That is not. I mean, he has been down there 4 times.
He has a photo op.
No,
we'll
he has
take a
put
break.
everybody as necessary.
Jiggles there all the time.
And we will continue with our great American panel. Straight ahead. Wants to boycott Arizona, but doesn't know Arizona is on the border with Mexico. Another genius politician. Whole take.
If this was Texas, which is a state that is directly on the border with Mexico, and they were calling for a measure like this, saying that they had a major issue with, with undocumented people flooding their borders, I would say I would have to look twice at this. But this is a state that is a ways removed from the border, and it doesn't make sense to me.
Time to look at it. Totally, for sure.
The American educational system at work.
I have friends who are living in Arizona. They're suffering as a result of illegal aliens coming in. And I think for Obama and others to allow this to happen, it's just wicked. It's evil.
This has been an ongoing.
American people are suffering from this.
Let me move on here. Now, we went through this whole thing with George Allen and Makaka, and we had this other congressman assaulting these kids saying, do you support the Obama agenda, sir? Congressman, polite. And we still haven't had an update on that. Now we've got Congressman Kanjorski. Bizarre comments. Listen, just watch this and listen to this.
We're giving relief to people that I deal with in my office every day now, unfortunately. But because of the longevity of this recession, these are people, and they're not minorities, and they're not defective, and they're not all the things you'd like to insinuate that these programs are about. These are average, good American people.
Oh, let's see here. They're not minorities. They're not defective. No, these are good, average American people. It's your fellow Democrat.
Why is it that I'm always having to defend the inner?
It's your Democrats.
Oh, that is just a poor choice of words. They were late at night working through the financial re-regulation. But I think the thing that's important to see is those that he offended.
If Sean Hannity or Rush Limbaugh or Mark Levin or anybody on Fox said it, what would happen?
Oh, it's a total double standard. But if I can say, Kanjorski's not a stupid man. I mean, he gets big points actually on Fox Business Channel because he actually was the guy who you could arguably say stop the financial slide by making sure that they changed the mark-to-market rules to reflect reality a little better instead of the false marking to market that living the market down into the tank. So he's not a stupid guy, but there is within the sort of old Democrat bulls an attitude that is paternalistic and condescending, and it occasionally slips out, and you get snippets of it, and because they're on the left, they get a pass. If they were on the right, they would get no pass.
I've been saying, by the way, I want to send my prayers out to Dick Cheney. He's a good man. But for the last 20 years, I've been telling black Americans that Democrats don't respect them, and this guy spoke from the heart. He sees them as incapable of taking care of themselves, and yet 90% of them.
Republican would be out of office, right?
That's right.
All right, we got to take a break. We're going to have more on the latest on former Vice President Dick Cheney's health. My interview with golf champ Paul Azinger next.